So what if I told you that one of the most powerful and even dangerous ideas ever conceived is, well, nothing? I don't mean an empty space. I mean a number, the number 0. It seems so simple, right? But this little symbol has a secret history, one full of mystery, fear, and a revolution that literally built the world we live in today.
Picture this. It's 1997. The USS Yorktown, a cutting-edge Navy warship, just stops, dead in the water. And the cause? It wasn't a missile, it wasn't a torpedo, it was a single line of computer code that tried to divide a number by 0. That one tiny calculation shut down the entire propulsion system. This isn't some ancient history lesson, it's a perfect modern reminder of the very real power of nothing.
So how did we even get here? How did an idea that represents a complete and total absence become one of the most critical concepts in all of human history? Just look at it, this simple oval. To us, it's obvious, but you have to remember, for most of human history, this didn't exist. Its journey from being just an invisible idea to a simple placeholder and then, finally, to a real number, that journey changed everything. Okay, so let's put on our detective hats. Where did this powerful idea first pop up? The search for the first 0 is a genuine archaeological detective story. We've got clues scattered across ancient civilizations and a few different suspects, all vying for the title.
For centuries, historians have been debating this. Now, cultures like the Babylonians and the Mayans, they had ways to show nothingness, sure, but they used it more like a comma or a period, a punctuation mark. The real hunt, the one that matters, is for the first true placeholder, a symbol used inside a number.
The evidence is literally written in stone and on fragile pieces of birch bark. For the longest time, an inscription in Gwalior, India, from 876 CE was the reigning champion. But then, a discovery in Cambodia found a dot on a stone stele, dated even earlier, all the way back to around 683 CE. And then there's the famous Bakhshali manuscript, which is full of dot-like zeros. Its date has been revised over and over, which just keeps this whole mystery alive and kicking.
So here's our lineup of the prime suspects. We've got the Cambodian stele, the Gwalior temple inscription, and the Bakhshali manuscript. You'll notice the form is a little different. Sometimes it's a dot, sometimes a small circle, but the idea behind them is exactly the same. Each one represents that crucial first step, giving nothing a physical shape.
But, just being a placeholder, that's not the whole story. Not even close. The real revolution, the moment that truly changed everything, happened in ancient India when 0 graduated from being a simple space filler to a number with its own set of superpowers.
This right here is the big conceptual leap. See, a placeholder is passive. It just sits there to mark a space, to show you the difference between a 9 and a 90. But a number is active. You can do stuff with it. You can add it, you can subtract it. The second that 7 minus 7 could equal an actual thing, 0, mathematics was changed forever.
The very name we use for 0 actually hints at these deep philosophical roots. It all started as shunya in Sanskrit, which means void or empty. From there, it traveled to the Arab world, where it became cipher. That word then made its way into Europe, becoming Zephram in Latin, and eventually it was shortened to the 0 we all know. And here's a fun fact. That same Arabic word cipher also gave us the English word cipher. Pretty cool, right?
The real turning point came in 7th century India with a mathematician named Brahmagupta. He's the guy. In his work, he essentially gave 0 its first official rulebook. He systematically defined how to do math with it. He didn't just use it, he explained it. And in doing so, he laid the foundation for algebra and for the negative numbers we use every single day.
But this revolutionary new number wasn't exactly welcomed with open arms everywhere. As the idea started to spread, it hit a wall of resistance. To many in the West, the whole concept of nothing being something was, well, it was illogical, unnatural, and frankly, downright terrifying. You have to understand, for a lot of ancient Western and Greco-Roman philosophers, the universe was a full, complete thing. There were no empty spaces. The idea of a void, of absolute nothingness, wasn't just wrong. It was philosophically impossible. I mean, how could you create something from nothing? To them, it was a paradox that threatened their entire worldview.
And this really gets to the heart of the conflict. The resistance wasn't based on the math. I mean, you can't really argue with 7 minus 7. It was philosophical. It was this deep, gut-level discomfort with what 0 represented, a void, an emptiness at the very heart of reality.
So what was the big deal? Why all the fear? Well, for starters, 0 challenged that core belief that from nothing, nothing comes. Its journey into Europe was met with a ton of suspicion.
For centuries, it was seen as this strange, almost magical symbol from the East, and its acceptance was held back simply because the idea of emptiness was just too scary for people to deal with.
But, history has a funny way of turning things on their head. The very idea that was once feared and rejected would eventually become the absolute bedrock of our modern technological world.
The ultimate power of zero is on full display in the binary system. Every computer, every smartphone, every single piece of digital tech you use speaks a language made of just two symbols, on and off, yes and no, 1 and 0.
And what's just mind-blowing is that this kind of binary thinking has incredibly ancient roots. The I Ching, an ancient Chinese philosophical text, used combinations of solid and broken lines to represent different concepts. A solid line for yang, a broken line for yin. It was basically an early philosophical version of binary code.
Now fast forward a few centuries to the 1700s. The German mathematician Gottfried Leibniz is developing his own system of binary arithmetic. When someone showed him the hexagrams from the I Ching, it was like a light bulb went off. He saw this profound connection and believed these ancient symbols totally confirmed his revolutionary idea that all of math, all of reality, could be built from just 1 and 0.
For Leibniz, this was so much more than just a math trick. It was a beautiful philosophical model of creation itself. He saw the number 1 as representing God, and 0 as representing the void, or nothing. And from just those two things, God and nothingness, he believed the entire universe could be created and described.
So when you step back and just trace its path, the journey is absolutely incredible. It went from a humble dot on a stone, to a fully fledged number in India, to a feared idea in Europe, and finally, to the fundamental language of our entire digital universe.
Today, zero's influence is completely and totally inescapable. It's the silent, invisible backbone of modern science, finance, and technology. Without it, there's no calculus, no algebra, no computers, and no modern economy as we know it.
So the big takeaway here is pretty stunning. An idea that once terrified philosophers, the idea of nothing, is precisely what allowed us to build, well, everything. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What idea today makes us deeply uncomfortable? What concept seems impossible or dangerous right now, but might just hold the key to our entire future?